Welcome to the Know Yourself channel. We're making astrology known and understandable as the #1 priority. I'm the Scottish astrologer, and in this video we're going to take a look at the 12 zodiac signs and the general qualities that these signs give to you. Okay, before I start, I want to make it clear that basically to get the general personality reading of a person, an astrologer must look at your sun sign, which is which zodiac sign the sun is in on your birth chart, your moon sign, and your ascendant, which is the sign which was rising at the time of your birth, because this is how you get a general reading of the personality. Also, where all other planets are in your birth chart as well. I say this is because if I read to you, say you're an Aries, I read the qualities of Aries to you, and you think, oh well, a few of them sound like me, but generally I don't sound like that. That's because most likely just your sun sign will be in Aries, and say all your other planets may be located in Cancer, for instance, and then you will definitely relate more to the qualities of being a Cancerian rather than Arian. Uh, Also, if you're born at night, you tend to be more like your ascendant, the sign that was rising at the time of your birth. People see you more like this. So it's interesting. I have to make this clear before I read these out and people think, oh, that doesn't sound like me. I'm just generally explaining why that is. Okay, we'll start with Aries. I'll give you a few like words that describe Arians. Let's say courageous, frank, dynamic, enthusiastic, bold, fast, warm, impulsive, adventurous, expansive, competitive, warlike. Negatively, they can be very egotistical, self-centered, domineering, rash, impatient, very impatient, uh, very thoughtless, can be quick-tempered, act childish a lot, can be very daring as well. Uh, Arians express their vital energies in a very cut and dry way. They can't help but take the driver's seats in situations, and with that, people tend to see them as being a bit arrogant. Uh, they always seem to be charging ahead, but ending up hurting themselves, and they can also be overcome by doubt quite a lot. That's a general flaw of being Aryan. Uh, they're obviously very courageous as well, very honest people, and always enthusiastic to get involved in any situation, really. Yeah, okay, so next we'll move on to Taurus. Give you a few key words. Faithful, constant, tough, sturdy, patient, persevering, sensual, strong, realistic, focused, stable, loyal, constructive. They tend to like security. Negatively, Taurians can be a bit too materialistic, very stubborn, possessive, spiteful, and can sometimes come across as being a bit slow in doing things. They'll take their time in comparison to other people. Okay, like joy of life, sensuality, and tranquility are essential to Taurians. They're have a very simple and a quiet nature usually. They find happiness easily because they are not very competitive. They have a very relaxed attitude and they have good common sense, and this leads them to fulfillment. Construction is important to Taurians. They really like building things. They love it. Patience and persistence always seem to yield very strong, steadfast, sustainable efforts for Turians. They seem to be able to withstand any pitfalls. Usually very gentle, but have a slow thinking process. But once they put their mind on something as well, you'll notice like it's very hard for them to change their mind. Very hard. They stick with what they've got in their mind, and it's tough to persuade them otherwise. They dislike changes in general. They really like things going how it always goes for them. Any spanner in the works in their routine can be very annoying to them. It's hard for them to handle. Okay, let's move on to Gemini. Few keywords that describe Gemini. Very expressive, adaptable, lively, sparkling, very quick-witted, playful, humorous, clever, sociable, curious, independent, ingenious, mostly brainy, flexible, imaginative, charming. Negatively, they can be a bit scattered, moody, opportunistic, shallow, selfish, unconcerned, fragile. Well, can seem to be fragile to others. Their mobility is such that they are in every place where you are not expecting them to be. Like, you know what I mean? You seem to bump into them everywhere. You're like, I always seem to be bumping into you, one of these people. They spend lots of time asking questions and answering them, like answering their own questions. They'll come out with questions and then end up answering them themselves. It's pretty funny. Their curiosity and their quick-wittedness are insatiable, right? Their mind is in a constant turmoil, hopping from one topic to another, as obviously the ruling planet's Mercury. That's your thoughts, eh? They love to solve problems. They love gaining knowledge. Their mobility is mostly mental, like things. They know most of the time. Didn't get me wrong. They're no very sporty. Mostly these people are brain boxes. They do things with their minds rather than physically. Is what I'm trying to get across. Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on to Cancer. I'll give you a few keywords for Cancer. So that'll be emotional, sentimental, peaceful, imaginative, sensitive, vulnerable, resistant, generous, very protective, romantic, tender, poetic minded, very motherly or fatherly or family orientated. Can be dreamy. Negatively, can be a bit greedy, moody, stubborn, anxious, touchy, lazy, people who just prefer to stay at home. Okay. Cancers are very dreamy. They have a very psychological nature that is always thinking about the past, always talking about the past, or seem to be attracted to history or family history, or what to find out about the family tree, etc. Their instincts and their need to protect themselves from the outside world are highly developed. Their inner life is very rich, and they have a very vivid and even unlimited imagination. Some of the best writers are Cancerians. Very imaginative. They tend to avoid all risks and pursue security. So they're very smart in that. They'll take risks. They'll opt for the smart option all the time. Very wise. They seem to only show their true faces to people that they can truly trust, okay? And that happens all the time with them, like, and you'll never see a true Cancerian until they can really trust you. Then you can see the true Cancerian side come out of them. They always put on another face to society. Okay, let's move on. Leo. I'll give you some key words for Leo. Proud, determined, strong-willed, loyal, generous, ambitious, heroic, courageous, confident, creative, happy, seductive, fiery, majestic, daring, honest, charismatic, responsible, dramatic, noble. Negatively, they can be a bit vain, stubborn, bossy, self-centered, intolerant, can be quite violent and quick-tempered sometimes. Their psychological nature is very powerful and they're very full of self-confidence. They are natural leaders whose strength and nobleness command their entourage's respect and adherence with unchallenged legitimacy. Okay, their ability to order, the prestige and charisma that emanate continuously from their person inevitably always put them under the spotlight wherever they go. Okay, so that's Leo in general. Proud, natural leaders, everything I just mentioned. Leo over the back. Okay, let's move on to Virgo. I'll give you a few keywords for Virgo. Attentive to detail and numbers, brainy, serious, analytical, competent, modest, sensitive, logical, tidy, very well organised, clean. Usually the clean freaks tend to be Virgo. Hard working, honest, faithful, can be reserved and they can be shy. Usually perfectionist, very helpful people. Negatively, they can be a bit narrow-minded, irritating, petty, repressed. So, but a Virgo's psychological nature tends to be nervous and secondary, right? Before they take any action, they seem to cautiously ponder over things and review all the possible alternative reactions. Very careful people. They strive systematically to find the best possible response to any given problem. Above all, they are perfectionists, and they have no rest until they optimise a situation in each and every area, be it professional, in pleasure, in home life. That's general. Virgos are very giving, they're very motherly as well. They want to take care of you, they want to make sure you have everything you need. That's the general Virgo. Okay, so next we have Libra. Okay, I'll give you a few keywords for Libra. Sentimental, charming, polite, loyal, refined, fair, distinguished, romantic, light-hearted, well-groomed, calm, nice, perfectionist as well, sweet, sociable, considerate, seductive, indulgent, but negatively can be a bit weak, hesitant, selfish, indecisive, fearful, fragile, or sometimes it can be a bit insensitive. Their psychological nature is sanguine and communicative. Okay, or they can be a bit nervous and introverted, depending on whether Venus or Saturn is the strongest placed in their birth chart. Okay, Libra is ruled by both Venus, the principle of harmony, okay, attractiveness, outgoing and airy in this sign, and by Saturn, the principle of rigour, introversion, restraint, concentration and meditation. Okay, so unless Saturn is very strong in the chart, that's what you'll get. So let's see. Libra's delicate, okay, charming, sociable, okay, very compromising. For this reason, they may sometimes come across as a bit hesitant or weak, because they dare not to insist or give their opinions too much, okay. People who tend to sit on the fence, shall we say, natural mediators, very diplomatic, okay. They prefer obviously act as a unifier, an element of understanding within a group, even if it's detrimental to their own assertiveness. They dislike violence, okay, and they spare no effort for the sake of pacification, and they adjust to any sort of situation with good flexibility and charm. Okay, let's move on to Scorpio. A few key words for Scorpio. Powerful, secretive, domineering, resistant, intuitive, charismatic, magnetic, strong-willed, passionate, creative, independent, loyal, hard-working, persevering, untamable, can be possessive, cunning, ambitious, sexual, proud, intense, competitive, but also can be a bit too aggressive, destructive, anxious, stubborn, perverse, sometimes tyrannical, sometimes violent, sadistic, self-centered, very complex and jealous. And a Scorpio's psychological nature is bilious, with aggressive impulses that spur the transformation of their being and of any situation they are involved in. Okay, they are constantly struggling to assert themselves. They can not refrain from testing others with cutting remarks. Okay, not because they're trying to hurt them, but they just like to basically test them. They test them out, know how far they're able to push people before they push the people over their edge, over their breaking point. You'll find this with Scorpios. Life and the feeling of aliveness are experienced for Scorpios through rebellion and tension, and their aggressive attitude may equate with sly inquisition. They often remain silent, introverted and secretive, usually mulling over turbulent thoughts in the depths of their own mind, and mostly they leave others puzzled by their sometimes quite strange behaviour. Okay, moving on, Sagittarius. Give you a few keywords for Sagittarius. Very adventurous, straightforward, independent, demonstrative, bold, freedom loving, fiery, energetic, likeable, benevolent, tidy, amusing, straightforward, charming. You know, there's no too many negatives about Sagittarius, really, apart from most the boys I've came across are a bit extra hyper. But I wouldn't really say it's a bad thing, it just depends on the person. Okay, their psychological nature is very independent and extroverted, and it's always orientated towards expansion and sociability. They have the soul of a leader, they're very energetic and active. Their charisma and their drive are fully integrated into the collective life. Love travelling, love animals, I've noticed as well. A very action orientated fire sign. They tend to challenge themselves and succeed in accomplishing the tasks which they set themselves straight away. Sagittarians are very hard to follow because their spirit and their independent mind constantly lead them to go further and higher. Okay, next up we have Capricorn. Get a few keywords for Capricorn. Serious, cold, patient, disciplined, thoughtful, focused, ambitious, cautious, persistent, provident, steady, stern, honest, quiet, moralistic, attached and reliable, but negatively can be a bit curt, withdrawn, calculating, petty, cruel, ruthless, unpleasant, selfish, dull, slow or sceptical. Their psychological nature is a bit cold and introverted, and they're, well, at least regarding the image that they portray to other people, they see them as, in this way, very cold, or you can, introverted, but deep down they probably won't be like that 9 times out of 10. They seem very unemotional. Actually, they secondarily chew over the strategies or responses that they create as a reaction to their environment. Okay, that's what they're trying to do. That's why they come across really quiet and cold. Okay, they're a bit slow, but they're very thoughtful, solid and balanced people. Okay, well, to other people they may seem slow, but to them, they may just think they're going normal pace and things they do, that's just normal to them, or that's fast to them, but to onlookers they come across as slow. Okay, they're very curt, as they are cold. Okay, and they put the strength of their character at the service of their huge and long-term ambitions. Okay, they're very all about the career, all about building a business and making it profitable and great and something they can, pass on to their children. That's the Capricorn. Very career orientated people. Or they can be very detached from early riches and focus on spiritual values if they're born into a very wealthy family, have already attained the wealth. Then they go the opposite direction. And like all people born under this reserved and tough sign of Capricorn, their inner personality is often charming and gentle, as if the thick armour forged throughout childhood has entirely preserved the purity and the warmth of the soul imprisoned within. And it's like the child's always within there, but other people see a completely different side. Okay, let's move on to Aquarius. Give you a few keywords for Aquarius. Very idealistic, altruistic, very eccentric people, independent, very original, surprising, gifted, although can be contradictory a lot, very innovative, humanistic, very likeable, friendly, very self-confident, impassive, quiet, intuitive, creative, very charitable, can be a bit disconcerting, generous, tolerant. They cannot stand any kind of constraint. Okay, they love freedom. Aquarius is saying all about revolution, freedom, etc. So you can see why. Negatively, they can be a bit marginal, resigned, a bit distant, eccentric and cold. This is I think eccentric can be pretty good sometimes, but obviously bad other times. They are particularly sensitive to the values of friendship, okay, in the sense that if they see themselves as a link within a chain, okay, that's how they see themselves, a link within a chain in a group. They see everyone as an equal link, okay. They see themselves as a different and original link, okay, but they see everybody as being equal in some way, equal in person, different in, I don't know, possibilities, talents, okay. They have really no will to flatter your ego, okay, for other people's ego. They don't try and flatter anyone's ego, okay. On the contrary, Their aim is to immerse themselves in friendly relations and to participate in projects and ideals of the whole human community. They are very about that. They're about changing the world deeply. Is ingrained into an Aquarian. They want to leave their mark on society and change it for the better in some way. Okay, let's move on. Last but not least, thanks for bearing with me, is Pisces. Okay, a few keywords for Pisces. Emotional, sensitive, nice, adaptable, dedicated, can be a bit wild, compassionate, romantic, imaginative, flexible, opportunist, quite impossible to categorise most of the time, you'll find with Piscean people. Can be irrational, seductive, secretive, pleasant, artistic, charming. Negatively, they can be a bit moody, confused, indecisive, quite lazy, scatterbrained, vulnerable, gullible, and unpredictable. Their psychological nature is adaptive and receptive, the exact opposite of a Virgo, okay? Whose essence is to thoroughly analyse each thing. Pisces don't care for that, they're exact opposite, okay? Pisces absorb and wipe out any form of differentiation, okay? With Pisces there can be no opposition, no conflict, no individual reaction. There is only fusion, okay? Non-separation, perpetual and mobile spreading of the self over some sort of blurred but huge feeling of sympathy with the environment. It is the supreme reign of feelings and emotions over the intellect and its separating reason. Okay, Pisces are the most emotional people going. Can be very empathic as well. They're the natural empaths, psychics of the zodiac. They just seem to know what's going to happen. They just, I don't know, like, they don't seem to care for other problems that anyone else will have getting true care for. They're just like, oh well, it's all good, again, just go with the flow sort of thing. That's Pisces over the back. Okay guys, thanks for bearing with me. Please share, please subscribe. Thanks again.